Hi everyone, in this week's maths we're going to be looking at multiples and factors of numbers. Now we've done this before within class and sometimes we confuse ourselves with multiples and factors. So we're going to look at multiples first and then look at factors, and then throughout the week there will be questions relating to these two areas. Right, to start off with multiples. Multiple of a number is that number multiplied by an integer or a number. So if we look at the multiples of 3, they are 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, etc. Multiples of 20 would be 40, 60, 80, 100, etc. Now, questions around these may involve finding common multiples of a number. So, for example, common multiples of 4 and 6. So, let's start with multiples of 4. 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. I'm just going to stop there. Multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Now I'm going to stop there. Now hopefully what you can see is that we've got some common multiples. Our first common multiple we see is 12. Our next common multiple is 24. I wonder if you can guess what our next common multiple is going to be. Now, these sorts of questions, it will normally ask you to find common multiples of 2, 3 numbers up to a certain number. So that is multiples. We're now going to have a look at factors, which are different to multiples. Now a factor is a number that divides into another number exactly without leaving a remainder. So let's have a look at the factors of 28. Now if you remember when we looked at factors within class, I asked you to look for factor pairs and working systematically to find all those pairs. Now each number has a different amount of factors, and just because the number is bigger doesn't necessarily mean that there are going to be more factors. And as you work through your questions throughout the week, you will realise that. So factors of 28. First factor we look at is 1. We know 1 times 28 is 28. So 28 divides into 1 28 times without leaving a remainder. Our next one we look at, logically, is 2. Can 28 be divided into 2 without leaving a remainder? Yes, it can. 2 times 14 is 28. No remainder. Then we look at 3. 28 divided by 3 leaves a remainder. Therefore, 3 is not a factor. Then we move on to 4. 28 divided by 4 is 7. Therefore, we know 4 and 7 are factors of 28. We then move on to 5. 28 divided by 5 will leave a remainder. Therefore, it is not a factor. 6, 28 divided by 6 will also leave a remainder, therefore it is not a factor. We then get to 7. Now we've already done 7, so we know that we then found all the factors. Let's have a look at another number. Let's have a look at 25. Start logically, 1 times 25. 25 divided by 1 goes into 25 without a remainder. Let's have a look at 2 now. 25 divided by 2 will leave a remainder. 3, 25 divided by 3 will leave a remainder, therefore it's not a factor. 4, 25 divided by 4 also leaves a remainder. 5, well, we know 5 is a multiple of 25, therefore it will be. And what you notice here is when we talk about factor pairs, is actually 5 times 5 is 25. Therefore, you only need to write 5 down. But if you do write 5 times 5, that is absolutely fine. There are no more factors of 25. Some questions may ask you to find common factors or the highest common factor of 2 numbers, 3 numbers. So we'll just have a look at those. Let's have a look at the factors of 24 and 12 and see what common factors there are and what the highest common factor is. So let's start. Factors of 12. Well, we know 1 times 12 is 12. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. 5 is not a factor of 12. 12 divided by 5 leaves a remainder. And then 6, we've already worked out that 6 is a factor. Therefore, we can stop there. Factors of 24 now. Again, 1 times 24, starting systematically. 2 times 12, 24. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 6 is 24. 24 divided by 5 leaves a remainder, therefore it's not a factor. And then we get back to 6. And we've already done that, so we know we found all the factors. So let's have a look at the common factors. Well, 1 is always going to be a common factor of any number. We've also got 2. We've also got 3. We've also got 4. We've also got 6. And we've got 12. So all the factors of 12 are factors of 24. And we know that because 12 is a multiple of 24. So the question may ask, well, what is the highest common factor of 12 and 24? It would be 12. Okay, now through the course of the week there will be lots of different questions based on multiples and factors. Think of what I always say to you. Do your jottings, do your calculations twice, try your best.